Hey guys! Tonight we will be crocheting in my dining room. It is nighttime already. I usually try to crochet my tutorials for you guys during the day because the light is better and I think the stitches show up better on camera. But as you know, life happens and I do 99% of my crocheting at night anyway, so this is kind of more realistic, reality, real-time, whatever. I also have not yet completed this particular project yet, so you'll be seeing it unfold as it's created. And what it is our Mother's Day project. This project is not necessarily particular to Mother's Day, but it is what I'm making for my mom this Sunday, and it kind of took me a while to figure out what I wanted to make. I kept changing my mind, but ultimately I picked this one. It's kind of weird, but I think funny and useful. And weird, funny, and useful are all things that I like very, very much. So it's gonna be a letter organizer, like something for you to put on your desk so that all your envelopes and stuff aren't just strewn about. It's going to look like a loaf of bread, so it'll be like loafy on the ends, and then in the center there will be a wire coil, and the coil is what creates those partitions for all your papers and postcards and things like that. I think it's gonna be cute. We'll see what happens. What you're gonna need is some worsted weight yarn in a nice toasty baked bread color. This is Lion Brand Vanna's Choice in Honey. For the inside of my bread, I will be using Lion Brand Vanna's Choice in Beige. You can also use Lion Brand Vanna's Choice Baby in Lamb, and that's what this color combo is. I just reached for the beige tonight. It's what was speaking to me as far as a loaf of bread, but you can do what you want. And the wire that I was talking about is 14 gauge jewelry wire. I found it at Joann. And this is a copper color. I picked that color because I thought it seemed bread-like, but you can pick whatever color you want or whatever color you might have around the house. Again, this is 14 gauge. And then to stuff our bread loaf, we just need polyfill. Polyfill, the brand. I'm discovering I'm definitely a brand whore when it comes to polyfill, and I prefer the silky, puffy polyfill brand. And then just your regular tools. We will be using an H-hook, or you can use an I-hook or a G-hook if that's what you feel comfy with. And then some little scissors, tapestry needle, and maybe a piece of cardboard. I was kind of afraid that our crocheted bread loaf would be too light, so I might stick some cardboard in there to help stabilize the bottom, or not. I'm not sure yet. I don't know. It's an adventure. It's a bread venture, and I'm ready. Let's go. So these are the shapes that we'll be crocheting first. They create the ends of our letter organizer, or our loaf of bread, and they're basically just like little pieces of toast. You'll make two of each of these. This is the inside and this is the outside, or the butt, which is what we always call it at our house. Matt does not like to eat the butt, and I always end up eating the butt. Anyway, for the tutorial, I'll be showing you how to make this piece. And so we start by doing the inside, and then we create the crust around it. So we start with a slip knot on our H-hook and the beige, and we're going to chain 15. Then skip the first chain and then single crochet evenly across. So it's one single crochet per chain, which will give us 14 single crochet. And again, the single crochet is insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over once and pull through one loop, yarn over once and pull through two loops, and that's a completed single crochet. So we'll just go all the way across, and when you get to the end, chain one and turn. And the second row is just one single crochet in each stitch, this beginning part, is super easy. Well, for the most part, the pattern is pretty easy. Sorry, my crochet hook keeps hitting the tripod. I still really haven't figured out the best way to film these. Someone suggested a GoPro and to stick it on my head. I don't think I'm ready yet to invest in a GoPro, but I'm definitely intrigued by that idea. So this is after 2 rows, and again it's just 14 single crochet across, and you're just going to repeat this until you have a total of 12 rows. So it's super easy. So this is 12 rows of 14 single crochet across, and I just chained 1 and I'm going to turn. And now we're going to start to increase quite a bit to create the top of the piece of bread. And so we're going to 2 single crochet in the first stitch and also 2 single crochet in the second stitch. And then crochet 1 single crochet in each stitch 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which leaves us 2 more stitches, and we're going to put 2 single crochets each in those last 2 stitches. So at the end of this row, which is row 13, you should have 18 stitches. And then chain 1 and turn. And then we're going to increase a little bit more in this row as well. So row 14 is 2 single crochet in the first stitch, and then 16 single crochet evenly across. You're just going to single crochet evenly until you have 1 more stitch remaining in this row. And then you're going to work 2 single crochet into the last stitch. And at the end of this row, you should have 20 single crochet. Chain 1 and turn. This is row 15, and you're just going to single crochet evenly across, and that just means 1 single crochet in each stitch. And so again, at the end of row 15, you should have 20 stitches. Oops, sorry. Okay. And now you're going to start to decrease. So chain 1 and turn, and in row 16, you're going to single crochet 2 together to decrease. And how you do that is insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through 1 loop, insert your hook into the second stitch, yarn over, pull through 1 loop, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. And there you just turned 2 stitches into 1 stitch. And then single crochet 16 across. You're working single crochet until you have 2 stitches remaining in this row. And then you're going to single crochet 2 together. So at the end of row 16, you should have 18 stitches, and it should look something like this. Chain 1 and turn. Row 17, you're going to decrease even more. So single crochet 2 together, and then single crochet 2 together again. Then 10 single crochet evenly across. You're working single crochet until you have 4 stitches remaining in this round. Sorry, I keep saying round. I mean row. Okay. and then you're going to work one single crochet two together and then another single crochet two together. So this is what your bread looks like after row 17. And the next thing we're gonna do is change colors and work our darker crust color all the way around. If you're making this piece, obviously you don't have to break off and join a new color, you just keep going. But in this case, we will break off the beige and then join honey. I thought it would just be easier for you guys to see the outline being crocheted if I used two different colors. So I joined my honey and I'm going to turn. And then you're just going to crochet across the top evenly, so that's 14 single crochet. And in the last stitch, you're going to actually work another single crochet. So this is actually an increase. And because we have to work around this curve, I'm just gonna work 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way around. You need the extra stitches, otherwise this will curl up a lot. So I'm going to work 2 single crochets 4 more times. So I go into my next space and I'm going to crochet 2 single crochets, 2 single crochets, 2 single crochets, 2 single crochets. So including the very first one, you basically just worked 2 single crochets in a row. I'm going to actually skip the next stitch. I just think it helps make the piece lay flatter. Lie flatter, lay, lie, whatever. So skip the next stitch and then work single crochet evenly until the end of this edge. For me, that ends up being 11 stitches. 11 stitches until I'm about to work into the first stitch of this edge, which is actually our foundation chain. It's the other side of our foundation chain. So in this corner, in this first stitch, I'm gonna work 3 single crochet to help us get around the corner, and then single crochet to the end. So that should be about 13 more single crochet. When you get to the very last space down here, you're going to work 3 single crochet again to get around the corner. And I always think that this corner is a little weird, so to help it sit better, I skip this first stitch and then I just start working again in the following one. And so I'll work evenly across this edge for 11 stitches. This is 10, and then 11. And then I'm going to skip the next stitch and then work my increases again around this curve. So 2 single crochet in one stitch, 2 single crochet in the next stitch, 2 single crochet in the next stitch, 2 single crochet in the next stitch. Oops, I misfired. this is the next stitch. Sorry, 2 single crochet here. So far I've worked 4 increases, and then the 5th one comes from working another single crochet into the first stitch of this round, and then slip stitch to join. Break off, yarn over and pull all the way through, and then you're just gonna weave in all these ends. So you're gonna make 2 of these and then 2 of these. So what we're going to do next is make half of our bread loaf, and it will end up looking like this. And you can see the 2 bread slices we made. And so the next step is to create this band around it for some width. And what we're gonna do is, take the all dark slice and join our yarn again at the bottom corner. So rejoin your yarn. And you're just going to single crochet evenly all the way around. And mine is 72 stitches. So work 72 evenly and then join when you get back to the beginning. So once you get all the way around, then you slip stitch into the first single crochet of the round to join, and then chain 1 and turn, and keep doing the same thing by working evenly around, and then joining with a slip stitch at the end of each round. You just keep going around and around and around until your bread loaf is as thick as you want it. And the sample that I showed you was 12 rounds of just working evenly like this. So if you want the same thickness as this is 12 rounds. So after round 12, you're gonna break off, but pull out about a yard of yarn first, because you're going to use that to sew the other end of the bread on. You can thread your tapestry needle through. And the sort of tricky part about this is making sure that both of your slices are lined up the right way. If you're a stitch or 2 off, your whole bread might end up looking more like squishy like that. So I don't really have like a special trick for you to make sure that everything's lined up properly. You just kind of have to eyeball the best you can and see if it looks good, and if it doesn't, you might need to start over. Which I know kind of sucks, but as of now I don't have a perfect solution for that. Like you can tell, like, this is the top of the bread, and this is where we're going to start sewing in this lower corner. So I can try to align the pieces properly, but you know, sometimes with eyeballing it's not 100%. So I will try my best and we'll see what happens. I'm going to try to start connecting these at maybe this last, the last single crochet that is in the 3 single crochets that we put in this corner. So I'm putting that in the last one and then attaching it to the piece we just finished. And then I'm just gonna keep whip stitching this around. I tried crocheting these pieces together because I think it's easier, like an easier method, but it didn't look the way that I wanted it to, so I pulled it out and went back to whip stitching them. So it's a little time consuming, but I like the look better. So just do this all the way around. Well, do it about 3/4 of the way around, and don't forget to put stuffing inside of it. So I just finished sewing that first edge, and I'm sort of lining it all up to see if it looks good, and it looks pretty close, I think. So I'm just gonna keep going all the way around. And I'm gonna put stuffing in it now. And I would say be conservative with the stuffing. If you overstuff it, the sides won't stay very flat. So you're just putting enough stuffing in to fill out the shape a little bit. I would say if you're stuffing something that's supposed to be super round all the way, like a ball or like a, you know, like a pear or fruit or something, stuffing it a lot can help make the shape better. But if you overstuff the bread, like it'll just start going like this and it'll look weird. So this doesn't actually have very much stuffing in it, and that's pretty much what I'm looking for. So before I sew this up, I also wanted to mention, if you're afraid your bread isn't going to sit flat, like I was afraid, actually on this one there's a piece of cardboard in here. And all I did was, before sewing it up, I sat this on a piece of cardboard and kind of roughly traced around with a pen. And then I cut it, and I kept trimming it until I thought that it fit pretty well in here. And then I also rounded the corners a little bit so there wouldn't be any cardboard corners sticking out. And then just slipped that in and then finished sewing it. And I think I'm going to kind of experiment and see. I think it, well, maybe I will do the cardboard. At first I wasn't going to, but well, I did it with this one, so I might as well do it with this one. So it doesn't have to be a perfect trace. You kind of just want to get an idea of how long and how wide to make it, because I end up trimming it down anyway, and it's better for it to be too small rather than too big. So if you just keep trimming it, it'll be fine. Not doing a very good job, but it doesn't have to be pretty. No one's seeing it in there. So yeah, looks a little small, but again, better for it to be too small than too big. And then I just kind of imagine what it would be like sitting in there, like that. I think I will make this part not so weird, like that. It's pretty good. Shave off a little bit more and round the corners. You can also, if you want to not have cardboard in your stuff, you can use really thick fusible, or you can I don't know, cut up some Tupperware and use the plastic, or you can find some canvas. don't know what they call that stuff, but you use it for latch hooking. It's like a canvas grid kind of that people do embroidery or cross stitch with. Anything rigid that will keep its shape you can use. So yeah. So I don't think it's 100% necessary, but if it makes you feel better about how this will sit, it's a really quick and easy solution. Just gonna put a little more stuffing. I'm just comparing it to this other one that I already made, and it was feeling a little squishy. I mean, usually with projects they're like put more in than you think you'll need, but again, this one I just don't want it to get too over puffed. For some reason, I'm always getting these weird dimples in the corner. I don't know. I have no solution for that. Just go with it. Just accept the beautiful uniqueness of your bread loaf. I'm gonna put a little more in, and then I'm gonna finish sewing this together. Here's our finished bread side. It is a little bit lumpy and bumpy, and it's not perfectly symmetrical, but I think it's still totally fine. But here's a trick for you. If you want the shape to be a little more pronounced, like I think what happens is you lose kind of some of this indentation here. What I do is I run stitches through the piece, so you can sort of see it creates a dimple. So if that bothers you, don't do this, but I don't know, I really liked exaggerating this shape as much as possible. So you just run your yarn back and forth like through the whole piece. So where's my needle? Thread like 18 or 24 inches of yarn on your needle, and then pick the spot where you want to cinch together your bread. And kind of visualize the two different spots you want to do it in. So I would maybe like here-ish and here-ish. So the first one goes in. You want to try to come out in the exact same spot on the other side. Like that. Looks pretty good. And then you want to come back through. So just go up or down one stitch. And make sure you also come out the same place on the other side. Like a stitch away from your original stitch. And then how tightly you pull it, you know, will affect the shape. So I don't go super tight. I just kind of look at the shape it's creating and see if I like it, and then tie it off like that. And then I do one more. So thread a new piece of yarn, and then kind of want it to be lined up the same way. I want to stab that in. Try to make sure it kind of comes out in the same place. I'm doing a horrible job. Let's see, like that. You can always pull it out and start over if it's not looking good. Or what you can do is just stick your needle back in and come out where you want to be. There's no exact instruction for this, which is why I'm taking forever and just kind of eyeballing it, but that's really my instruction, is you just have to kind of eyeball a lot of things. So traveling it back through and coming out one stitch away from where I stuck my needle in the first place. And now it's really cinchy. Kind of loosen that up a little bit. That side looks pretty good. Not bad. I'm gonna go with it. And just tie it off, the square knot, and then weave in all of those ends. So if you're kind of done crocheting right now and you aren't really feeling the whole letter organizer project, I mean, this is a pretty good gift too if you wanted to make like a bread plushie and put like a face on him and maybe some arms and some legs. Like, it is a totally wonderful plush toy as well. And you could have two and they could be buddies. And one could have peanut butter and one could have jelly. But I'm gonna keep going forward with my letter organizer idea, and that means I'll be crocheting one more piece. I'm going to be crocheting sort of a rectangular piece that creates the bottom of the bread, and then the coil we'll put in the middle here. And this is kind of a weird bird's eye perspective, but I think you get what I mean. To start off this bottom piece, I'm going to use beige. And there's my slip knot. And oops, get that in focus. I'm going to chain 17. Skip the first stitch and row. We're just making a rectangle. It's super easy. So skip the first stitch and then single crochet 16 across. This represents the width of the pieces of bread we just made. Our breads were 14 stitches across, but then we stitched a border around, so that's why I added 2 more stitches. So it would be the same width as the pieces that we already made. This looks totally out of focus, I'm sorry. Chain 1 turn. Row 2 is just single crochet evenly across. And the next row is going to be the same, and the next row is going to be the same. So just keep single crocheting. And the amount of rows is really up to you, because the amount of rows will equate to how long your bread loaf is. So you need to also take into consideration the pieces you just made. And I don't know how long I want this piece yet, so I'm gonna go and keep crocheting, and I will come back when I have the length that I prefer. So I decided to work 22 rows, and now I'm gonna break off. Go. So this is sort of the top part of what we're making, and you want to make this exact same piece in honey, and that'll be the very bottom. So again, with honey, you're going to chain 17, skip the first chain and work 16 across, chain 1, and keep working 16 across for 22 rows. So now I have this piece, which matches this piece. And what we need to do is, so this is going to be the top, and the brown part's going to be the bottom. And we need to crochet a little bit so we can give it some width or depth. So I didn't break this off yet, because what we're going to do is Just crochet evenly all the way around a couple times. I'm thinking maybe 3 or 4 rounds. So since this is 16 stitches here, 16 stitches here, 22 rows, that's a total of 76 stitches. So you just want to work 76 evenly around. So I just chained 1 and turned, and this will be 16 again. And then you're going to do 22 along this edge. Sometimes when I'm working my single crochets across the edge of the rows, I end up kind of running out of room at 1 less stitch, so I actually worked 21 across instead of 22, and that's fine, it doesn't matter. Just make sure that you also do the same amount of stitches when you do the other edge as well. So I'm actually working 16, 21, 16, 21. I'll have a total of 74 stitches around. So I just completed 21 along the other long edge, and then you slip stitch to the first single crochet of this round to join. Chain 1, turn, and just work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around again. No decreasing or increasing. Whoops. Super easy, so go all the way around again. I'm at the end of my second round, so I'm going to slip stitch to the first stitch of the round again to join. Chain 1 and turn. So this will be the 3rd round. Just working all the way around again. 74 stitches. You can see I actually had to join a new ball of yarn. So make sure you have a second ball of honey. And this is the 4th round, and I think this will probably be the last round that I'll do, because we don't need this piece to be super thick and fluffy. It's what your mail is actually going to sit on, and after we stuff it, it'll actually get puffier too, so it doesn't need to be too gigantic. So I just completed the 4th round, and I'm going to break off here, and remember to break off enough yarn to sew this piece to this piece, which is the top. So I'm gonna cut off maybe like an arm length, or maybe like a yard. I would probably do maybe like a yard and 6 more inches. I just don't like running out of sewing yarn and having to cut some more off and weave in more ends. So keep this end, and weave in the other ends just so it's neater. I foresee that matching the corners on these pieces again is going to be a little weird, so if it looks like it needs an adjustment when you finish, I think it's worth it to take it out and make that adjustment, but you can always try in the beginning to match it as best you can. I'm kind of shaping it so I can figure out where to start sewing. I guess I'll just start corner to corner. I'm just going to stick it in this top corner and hope for the best. So I'll go in this stitch to this stitch. I don't know if I feel like that's a good match, but I'll do the top edge and see what it looks like. So I finished sewing this first edge and it's looking like a pretty good matchup to me, so I'm going to keep going, but remember to stop at the last edge and put some stuffing in there. At this point I'm going to stop and stuff it a little bit, and again, I guess if you had like quilting batting, that would be ideal, so it would kind of keep that flat rectangular shape, but I don't have any, so I'm just gonna try to like stuff it pretty sparingly, because again, we kind of want it to stay like rectangular and flat. We don't want it to start getting like super round and puffy. And again, if you're super worried about the shape of this, you can use cardboard again to make sure the bottom parts are flat, but I will not be putting cardboard into this piece because I figure the letters are going to sit on top of it. Let's see if I need more. It might be a little lumpy, but again, I'm not going to worry about that too much. If you're super worried, again, have some batting ready. But I don't know, I think this is looking pretty good. So I'm gonna keep sewing up the rest of this hole. So I finished sewing it, and it's pretty puffy. But hoping if I just kind of give it a squish and like kind of roll it back and forth a little bit, I'll like spread my stuffing out more. And I don't know if this is actually accomplishing anything, but I don't know, I feel good about it. And the other thing I do sometimes is, again, much like running a stitch through these pieces, you could run stitches in certain points like this, but it will look a little dimpled, and since there's two colors here, you'd kind of have to decide, you know, do you want a dark stitch to show on this side, or do you want a light colored stitch to show on this side? And since this is the bottom, I'd probably use a light color, and I may decide to put the dimples in later, or at least one through the center. But I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm just going to see how the whole thing looks. So now we have these three pieces, and you have a choice here to make. You can either glue these together or sew them, so they will go like this. Remember, I've never made this before. I don't have any idea what this is all going to look like. So I'm gonna sew them together because I feel like it's gonna give me more control over what all this looks like at the places it joins. And here and here, I'm gonna sew with the beige, and then everywhere else, I'm gonna sew with the honey, just so it kind of looks seamless. So this actually looks like the inside of the bread, and this actually looks like the outside of the bread. So I'm gonna go and do that right now. This is what it looks like right now. I did end up doing the dimples, and it looks like I didn't line them up very well, so you might want to do a better job than I did. It is pretty lumpy and bumpy. It is a little floopy. I might next time actually put cardboard in the bottom here. I mean, it would still kind of be hinge-like here, but it might just feel a little more substantial, like if you're giving it as a gift. But it's pretty much looking like how I wanted it to look. And then just gonna figure out how to do that coil here, and then we'll be finished. So I'm gonna take out this wire that I bought. Again, I don't really work with wire a lot. I don't know how this is gonna go. How do you undo this? I do have some jewelry making related tools which I might need, especially wire cutters. So kind of like the shape that this is already in, so I'm sort of trying not to mangle it too much. I'm kind of whispering because it's like 5:30 in the morning right now, and everyone's asleep. Okay. Trying to see how much coil I want in here. So I decided to use this domino sugar container. You can use whatever you have around the house. What I want to do is stretch some of this out first, because I'm not really sure how I'm attaching this yet to the bread. So I'm going to give myself some leeway, and then I'm just going to start to wrap this around. So this is where the trial and error part of project making comes in. I actually didn't like the coil because once I started putting mail on top of it, the mail wasn't stable because that one little piece of wire it had to sit on kind of made it wobble. So instead I've been kind of doing this. I've been cutting about 10-inch long strips of wire, and then I've been using the domino container to form my arch, and then I've just been stabbing this in here. Kind of evenly spacing it. So with this new strategy, I would definitely put a cardboard bottom in here before sewing it up, and then you could put little dabs of glue on the end here and then stick them in and then just leave it and let it dry. And so I'm just going to keep going and making these loops, or these like little arches. I hope you guys had fun making this pretty wacky project with me. It kind of turned out exactly how I imagined in my mind, and I know my mind can be a weird one sometimes, so I hope that some of you attempt this project, or at least make yourself some little like half a bread loaf plush dolls. We'll see if my mom actually ends up using this for her mail. The pattern written out is free on my blog, which is blog.twinkichan.com. And so yeah, if you have any suggestions or requests for patterns or anything like that that you want to see from me, just leave a comment below. And until then, I don't know, hug your moms and have a really great weekend. Bye.